In the heart of Japan, a young disciple was struggling with a common yet profound problem. Amidst the tranquil serenity of the monastery, the disciple's world was a tumultuous storm. His days were filled with tasks, duties, and responsibilities. From the break of dawn till the stars claimed the night, his hands were busy, his mind occupied. Yet despite his relentless efforts, he found himself running in circles, chasing his own tail. He was like a farmer trying to till the entire field at once, scattering his energy in all directions but harvesting no crops. With each passing day, his tasks seemed to multiply exponentially. His to-do list grew longer, his hours shorter, and his frustration deeper. He tried to juggle everything simultaneously, hoping to catch all the falling balls. But alas, the more he juggled, the more balls slipped through his fingers. His dreams lay shattered around him, like pieces of a broken mirror, reflecting his scattered thoughts. He was a boat lost in a stormy sea with no compass to guide him, no lighthouse to lead the way. His heart heavy with despair, the disciple decided to take his troubles to the wise Zen master. He had heard tales of the master's profound wisdom, his ability to unravel the most complex knots with a single stroke of insight. Perhaps, he thought, the master could help him navigate through this maze of confusion. His mind was a whirlpool of thoughts as he climbed the steps to the master's quarters. He rehearsed his words, trying to articulate his predicament. He was a parched traveler, desperate for a drop of wisdom to quench his thirst. He knew not what the future held, but he was ready to face it, ready to learn, ready to change. Finding no solace, he decides to seek wisdom from the old Zen master. As he stood before the master's door, he took a deep breath. He was at the threshold of a new beginning, the dawn of a new understanding. Little did he know his journey towards mastering time was about to begin. The Zen master listened to the disciple's woes, then smiled gently and proposed a challenge. In his hands, the Zen master held a small bag. From it, he pulled out a handful of smooth pebbles, each one worn and polished by time. He placed these before the disciple alongside a clear glass jar. "Your task," he began, "is to fit all these pebbles into this jar. But remember, you must not break the jar." Eager to prove himself, the disciple reached for the pebbles. His first instinct was to gather up as many as he could hold and pour them into the jar. He watched as the pebbles clinked and clattered against the glass, some bouncing out, others settling at the bottom. But no matter how he tried, he couldn't fit all the pebbles in. The glass jar, though sturdy, was not big enough for the disciple's hasty approach. The Zen master watched the disciple's efforts, his eyes twinkling with a hint of amusement. He saw the disciple's frustration growing with each failed attempt. The pebbles seemed to multiply, and the jar appeared to shrink with every passing moment. The disciple's hands trembled, his forehead beaded with sweat. Each clink of the pebbles against the glass jar echoed his mounting despair. He was so close, yet the task seemed impossible. All he could see was failure looming over him like a dark cloud ready to burst. He glanced at the Zen master, hoping for some hint or guidance. But the Zen master simply sat, his face calm, his eyes reflecting the silent wisdom of years. The disciple realized there would be no help coming. He was on his own. Finally, with a sigh of defeat, the disciple put down the last pebble. He glanced at the overflowing jar, then back at the Zen master. He had failed. The challenge was too great, the task impossible. The disciple felt defeated, unable to complete the Zen master's challenge. The Zen master, noticing the disciple's frustration, decided to show him the way. He picked up the jar, the one that was earlier filled to the brim with pebbles by the disciple, and he emptied it. He then selected a pebble from the pile and carefully placed it inside the jar. Then another and another. After each pebble, he shook the jar gently, allowing the pebbles to settle, to find their own space within the confines of the glass. With each pebble, he explained, each pebble represents a task, an obligation, or a goal. The jar represents your day. If you simply toss in all your tasks without thought, they will not all fit. But if you place them in one by one, giving each task the attention it requires, you'll find there's more room than you initially thought. He continued this process, pebble by pebble, until all the pebbles were in the jar. To the disciple's astonishment, they all fit. The jar, once overflowing when he had recklessly filled it, now perfectly contained each pebble. The art of time management, the Zen master declared, is not about rushing to fit everything in. It's about approaching each task with care, allowing it to find its place in your day. It's about understanding that your time is like this jar. It may seem finite, but it is abundant when used wisely. He gently shook the jar one last time, the pebbles settling peacefully. Remember, each task, like each pebble, is unique. It requires your attention, your focus. Don't rush, don't force. Let it find its place. This is how you master your time. The disciple watched in awe as the seemingly impossible task was made possible. His understanding of time, of its management, had shifted. He saw that it was not a battle to be won, but a dance to be danced, a song to be sung, a lesson he would carry with him forever. With the Zen Master's teachings in mind, the disciple set about to change his approach. He began by taking a blank canvas, a metaphorical representation of his day. Instead of allowing the canvas to be filled haphazardly with colors and shapes, he began to plan his masterpiece meticulously. He understood the importance of prioritizing his tasks. He realized that not all tasks held the same weight. Some were crucial to his growth, while others were mere distractions. He started to distinguish between the two, focusing on the tasks that mattered most. The disciple learned to say no to the unimportant, making room for the essentials. His canvas started to take shape with careful strokes, each representing a task of significance. One task at a time, that was his new mantra. He stopped trying to be a juggler, keeping multiple balls in the air. Instead, he became a sculptor, chiseling away at a single block until it transformed into a work of art. He discovered the beauty of focus, the power of giving his undivided attention to a single task. He saw how this approach not only improved the quality of his work, but also reduced his stress. His canvas bloomed with vibrant colors, each hue representing a task completed with dedication. But the disciple's transformation didn't happen overnight. He was tested by distractions, tempted by multitasking, and at times overwhelmed by his workload. But he remembered the Zen Master's teachings. He learned to be patient, to persist even when things got tough. He understood that mastering time management was not a quick fix, but a lifelong practice. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and with time, his canvas transformed from a chaotic explosion of colors into a well-orchestrated symphony of hues. Each color, each stroke, represented a task completed, a goal achieved, a step towards his dreams. The disciple, having mastered the art of time management, thanked the Zen Master for his wisdom. His journey was far from over, but he had taken the first steps towards mastering his time, and in turn, his life.